All right, welcome back. We're just breezing through the first hour here. Lucky enough to get a double dose of my good friend Rich Valdes. Rich Valdes is the host of the This Is America podcast. You got to check it out because this guy knows America from, the other side of the fence. He's an American through and through. He's a patriot, but he's also has a lot of Latino heritage in him. And I feel like, and many feel like, the African American and Latino community are being lumped into one group that the Democrats want you to think they're all for Biden. And Rich and I are kind of trying to break that down. Rich, thanks for sticking around with us for a little while. I am looking forward to coming on with you this week and talking about all the crazy things going on in the economy. Earnings are down all over the place. I don't know if you saw, but JetBlue came out and said that their earnings in this quarter were down 90% from their estimates. So that's not a good sign going forward. But I want to put up a graphic here. I'll read it to you and tell me what your thoughts are on it. I know I want to get to talking about the book, but take a look at this. There's some stats out there. 2019 black deaths. Abortion 380,000. Black on black violence 7,000. Black deaths from police 9. Okay? So the people marching and screaming and tearing down the country were supposedly out there about George Floyd and police brutality. 9 people in the black community were killed. 380,000 lives were terminated by abortion, and 7,000 lives were terminated through black-on-black violence. Why is that small, tiny minority getting all the attention, Rich? Is this kind of mind control that they're trying to do on us?
I would say that in the worst case scenario, it's mind control, but in the best case scenario, it's propaganda. They have been at it and beating that drum for quite a long time. There's a lot of people that have made a career out of this. And finally, there's an old saying, it says, to become an overnight success, it takes 20 years. So many of these guys have been at it for 20 years. And I'm talking about the black liberation theologists, the folks that have been perpetuating this racial divisiveness over and over and over, the idea of systemic racism. Just this Saturday, I had a dear friend of mine that created a curriculum about being anti-racist, and I wanted to learn more about it, so I had her on my show, and we had a great discussion about it. I don't think that we agreed on a lot of points, but what I gleaned from that was that there are so many people that truly believe that entire systems, entire institutions in America are designed to keep blacks or other minorities down. And I could say that maybe public housing may be a systemically racist system. That would be an example that I would say, you know what, I agree with it. However, by and large, I don't see that. And public housing is not one of the things that I believe they're saying is systemically racist. In fact, they're trying to expand it into the suburbs. So that's a different story. To me, racism is a condition of the heart. It's another form of hatred. And they perpetuate that by these teachings to continue to just split and split and split people. It's all about divide and conquer.
And Rich, for the most part, the bigger metropolitan areas in our country tend to be dominated by progressive mayors and progressive governors, right? And the biggest housing, and the public housing are usually in these same cities that are controlled by progressives. When you talk about, public housing being systemically racist, it kind of leads into what we were talking about. I think my friend John Burnett said, Democrats don't really care about black lives. It's not black lives that matter. It's black votes that matter. And it just seems like the same Democratic principles are being foisted upon the minority community, and every 4 years they come around and tell them, look what we're doing for you, and all they want is their vote, and they're not doing anything to improve their condition.
I think it's like FDR on steroids. And like I said, that would be one area they could try to persuade me on, but it would be easier to say that public housing is systemically oppressive. I would go with that because I think there are white people and Puerto Rican people and all sorts of different Latinos and Hispanic groups that are oppressed by these types of let me keep you on the Democrat plantation type of politics. And to me, that's more oppression than racism. And I don't think they do it because of race. I think they do it because of undereducation and people not knowing better, because they've been subjected to generation after generation of living on that Democrat plantation. It's kind of like modern day slavery perpetuated by the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I don't understand how Joe Biden can get up there and talk about how he's going to change the culture of our country when he's been in a leadership position for 44 years, and we're in, pretty much the same place. I mean, there have been advances, the Civil Rights Act, the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment. Most of these things were voted on by a majority of Republicans with opposition from the Democrats. But somewhere in there, they flipped the script, and Democrats are telling minority communities that they're there for them. They were against them all this time.
Well, they're doing the same thing right now by saying Black Lives Matter, right? I think you believe that Black Lives Matter, and I think I believe that Black Lives Matter, just like all lives matter. However, if you look at the actions of this BLM movement, it's clear that they don't care about whose life and what matters. They're leaving a trail of carnage. And if we look at Joe Biden, he said it best. If you vote for Trump, well, you're not black. That's what he told Charlemagne the God right here in New York City radio. Yeah. So when you come to a situation like that and you have Joe Biden saying the things that he's saying, and then Charlemagne responding saying Joe Biden needs to shut the F up because he doesn't speak for all of us. And when he does, he messes all of us up. I think that's a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Charlemagne the God, his real name is Lawrence McKelvey. He was also indicted for child rape, and he pled to a lesser crime at some point. So I don't know if he's the greatest, but he did actually put Joe Biden's feet to the fire, which no one does, and he said, hey, you got to come back in here, and we got more questions. And Chris Wallace even called Joe Biden and say, hey, Trump sat down for an hour with us and gave us free reign to ask anything. We want the same for you. And Biden won't answer him. In our final minute here, do you think Trump wins this thing, or do you think we got problems, Rich?
Yeah, I'm an eternal optimist. I really do think that Trump is going to win. Like I said, and if you listen to my show, I talk about this a lot. I just bump into people. I use public transportation. I bumped into a buddy of mine from about 20 years ago. Haven't seen him in probably 17, 18 years. And I just happened to be looking to get a tire change for my kid in Union City, New Jersey, because she got a flat. Lo and behold, I bump into this kid, Puerto Rican dude. I see him, and he tells me, oh, what have you been up to? I'm like, yeah, I still do my political thing. I just talk about it on the radio now. And he tells me, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, I don't mess with politics too much, but I'll tell you this, I'm with Trump all day.
All right. We got to leave it there. Rich, thank you so much. That's Rich Valdes. Check out This Is America podcast. Rich is one of the best. Thanks, Rich. We'll take a quick break. Back right after this.